Hi friends, I'm Ahaumna, and I am a healer and teacher and advocate for a more harmonious world through energetic healing. And I wanted to video my process, my own journey of healing today, moving through my signature meridian program that I call Sanctuary, as I had created this nice beautiful rash here that was incredibly painful, and I knew it had meaning. There was something deeper energetically happening, and I recorded my journey of discovery and process and integration and healing, and I'd love to take you through that journey so that you can see a little bit more of the work that I do and understand how it works. So let's jump in. Yeah, this is me out feeling like absolute shit before deciding to do my practice, and that began really with journaling about what I was experiencing and feeling so that I could pinpoint what meridians were out of balance. And once I realized that what I was navigating was working with the heart meridian, the pericardium, and the lungs, I began with the first stage of my process, which is applying heat through moxibustion to the meridian points that are going to be stimulated today for the heart, the pericardium, and the lungs. And you'll see me mouthing some words here. I am not only heating up the acupuncture point to begin opening up the meridians, I am also speaking into that point and allowing sound, vibration to start to move as well, because we are able to access and open our meridian points through heat, through sound, through frequency, through needles, through water, and through vibration. So I am not only heating the points, I'm also speaking just positive, and also processing and integrating what is happening in these meridians. Now, I'm working specifically with these meridians because this is along the meridian line where my rash is. And then I went into looking at, what are these meridians representing here? So when we're looking at the pericardium and the heart, both of these are fire meridians. And I am currently in Texas, where it has been 107 degrees and much hotter than my body is usually acclimated to withstand the heat. And I am responding. My rash is growing because the heat is growing that rash. So I wasn't too surprised to see both of the fire meridians showing up. And then we have the lung, which is metal, which is also a heat energy. We bring fire to an element in nature, to an earth element, to create metals. And once I recognized these three meridians were involved, I started to look at how is this showing up also in my life, right? The imbalances of this meridian, how is it also showing up in my finances, in how I'm feeling, in my emotions? And I walked myself through that process of what I call the money meridian, emotional code, as well as working with the energetics to understand, okay, yeah, I am actually working through, having some blocks of actually taking in more energy, and noticing that since I arrived, money flow was different, very different. And I was processing a lot of energetics around my masculine partner and his dynamic, and not being able to bring in money, and really feel like I was running that through my own system. And you'll see me really here as I'm working in these meridian points, like all of the breaths, and that is these meridians opening and expanding and releasing energy through the heat, activating these meridian points and allowing the meridian to start flushing the energy. So the heart and pericardium, really are showing up in the heart meridian. When it's imbalanced, it will show up financially through bipolar extremes with money, or being afraid or overly excited about money. And the pericardium is really the wall that is protecting, it's the bodyguard of the pericardium, and that bodyguard is really the it either has an aversion or an acceptance to excess energy, and that excess energy can be the excess energy that money brings in, or love brings in, or food brings in, or experiences bring in, or busy environments bring in. And being that I was in a space with thousands of people at a convention where I normally would not necessarily thrive, there was a ton of energy coming in all weekend, and potentially an aversion to that energy that was showing up not only in how I was feeling, also in, my ability to truly let my heart open, and in my ability to let my partner in and to work through these experiences. So I'm really addressing the entry point to these meridians, and we enter in with the heat either on our hands or our feet, depending on the meridians that we are working with. Now, the next thing that's also happening is that the rash is manifesting on the right side of my body, which is the masculine side of my body. However, and the meridians that are being activated, the pericardium, heart, and lung, are all yin or feminine meridians. So there is an imbalance between the yin and the yang here, whereas this weekend, being in the space where it's super hot, very busy, full schedule, lots of strategy, lots of meetings, lots of meeting people, lots of learning, lots of masculine forward things, and not really the time or space for me to actually sit down and do the healing work. So it was also this manifestation of, needing to bring the yin, which is the healing, which is the inner work, which is the intuition, into the masculine space, into the yang, fiery, activated space that really is finances, because that is where I was at a financial convention, and that is the work that I do, really helping us to see how the physiological manifestations of symptoms, we can bring that back to a meridian in our body, and then we can trace that meridian, look at all the different areas of our life, and we can see how it is showing up and influencing all the different areas of our life. So you'll see me here still working on these meridians, working on these heat points, and speaking into the meridians what it is I am working through and processing, speaking directly to the pericardium, the heart, and the lung in the language that they each need to hear, because each meridian has its own unique language as well. So I'm speaking to them in the language that they need to hear, and you'll see my body just had a major release here as I'm doing that, as I'm bringing the sound element to open things up and heal. And as we're gearing up towards the ends of the heat and the activation, the emotions really start to flow, and we start to actually get even more awareness as to what really is creating an energetic block or a kink in these meridians. And that emotion, that experience starts to surface, which is what we want. We want to have these emotions surfacing. We want to have a visceral reaction, an emotional and a physical reaction to the work that we're doing here. Now we're completing with the heat portion, and we're going to move into the next phase, which is working with bringing in our flower essences. And the flower essences work at two layers with our meridian system. The first is working with the frequency. Flower essences are the frequency of the flower. The next piece is that we're working with water, right? The flower essence is in water, and we have found that our meridians actually look like ringed water clusters, just as the pictures of water look. So water is a really big activator, especially when that water has been activated with the vibrational essence of a flower essence. And we work with very specific flower essences on each meridian, placing those flower essences onto the meridian points that we have now activated and opened with the heat, so that it will take the essence, the vibration, even deeper, and really breathing that into those points, so that the signature essence of that flower that's being worked with can harmonize, open, and entrain the vibration of the meridian to a higher frequency, where flow and ease and expansion are possible. So here I am, after pressing those flower essences in, I'm holding the meridian points, and then I'm going to move into adding essential oils, which are going to be the actual physiological compound as well, made into an oil form. And I'm putting this now onto the opposite hand than the hand that I worked with the heat and the flower essence, to create a balance, because your meridians run on both sides of your body. I want to create a balance to the process that I'm doing. However, I want to also bring in harmonization, where I'm not working with the heat and the essence on both sides. I'm balancing it by working with the oils on the other side, and then rubbing those two meridians together, and really bringing about a synergy and a harmony between the left and right polarity of the body. And now we're going to move into the next stage, which is working on similar to an NET therapy. However, we are working with specific meridian points on the body, and you'll see one hand is placed on the body, the other hand is placed at a position on the forehead. That is either going to activate the mental or the emotional aspect of whatever has come up. And what we do here is we actually allow ourselves to fully feel the stuck emotion, to fully live the experience that we have identified through the meridian work, and to do so while actually activating that emotion in the meridian and letting the energy flow. So you'll see there is a lot of yawning, which is clearing energy, clearing stuck energy, and you'll see the body is rocking and moving a lot here as it is running a tremendous amount of energy through this meridian to really feel and sense and experience the process that we're having. And we're going to work through all three of the points that we are activating in this session here today, which is the heart that we're working on first, the pericardium, and the lungs. And we're moving and balancing in between, just giving the body a good shake before we move into really tapping into that next meridian point. And the body intuitively knows this. And this is something I instruct my clients on, how to recognize when the body has cleared that energy. And you'll see here now I've moved into the lung points. And I'm now processing the lung, and now I'm moving into lung and pericardium together. And, this is really very deeply an intuitive process. Of course, we have the exact meridians that we're working with. So we do have that yang aspect, that masculine aspect of a direct system and function and order of things. And we're bringing in the yin, the healing, the intuitively knowing when it's time to move to the next meridian point, intuitively knowing what the body needs and how to process and integrate that energy, which is something that, as you work through this process, you begin to tap into your intuition in a way that is beyond words, where you become so wildly accurate with your intuition, with your inner knowing, with how to connect with your body, that you get to become the master of your domain, the master of your reality. And that's really what, healing is about, becoming the master of your experience so that you can continue to move forward in a powerful way. So now I've moved into working specifically on the pericardium meridian point and allowing for that final release to happen there in the pericardium. Just allowing for a moment the body to balance, stabilize, breathe, and just integrate the releases that just happened and the shifts that just took place in that experience, which is the next layer, right? We're going layer by layer like an onion and peeling back and becoming more aware and more clear and just letting that energy run more efficiently through our body, through our meridian system. Just letting that reset happen here before we move on to what comes next. And what comes next is going even deeper now into processing and actually physically experiencing the deeper layer of emotion that the process you just witnessed allowed us to reveal. We take that information, we take it into the money emotion code, and we recognize like really what is the deep energetics that are at play here. And what I found were the two biggest energetics at play here were betrayal and feeling stuck. So the energy now is working, we're still in the fire and metal element, we're still working with the pericardium, the heart, and the lung, and really being in, you see my body actually moving through the metal element in a process that I developed called elemental alchemy, which is a physical-based process of moving the elements in your body. So we're really working with the metal energy here and processing the feeling of being stuck, the feeling of betrayal. And this is really, feeling betrayed by the masculine is what I'm moving through here. Feeling betrayed, just, years of really not being spoken to, feeling betrayed by my own father, feeling betrayed by my partner, feeling betrayed by my own inner masculine, and, really working through that betrayal and how that betrayal has, really made me feel stuck here. So I'm allowing myself to fully feel it and move specifically through the elements of fire and metal here to bring them fully alive in my body as much as I possibly can here in this moment. And there is music that is playing in the background that is specific for these elements that I share with people when they, when they are moving through specific elements, and that I am excluding from this video for copyright reasons. So know that there is a musical sound vibrational element that happens with this to really guide and unlock the experience of these elements in the body. And the key is really to let yourself go there, to let yourself go as far as you can, to let yourself push yourself up against your edges into the discomfort, to be so uncomfortable and to face all of the things that have been stuck inside that meridian, creating these realities with partners and family and money and health and experiences that, until we bring it back into the meridians, into the somatic body, into the emotions, into the energetic, right? The physiological manifestations will continue to happen. And whether that will be a very obvious, rash or indigestion or heartburn or, constipation or migraines, whatever symptom in your body that is revealing a meridian that is out of balance, or a series and sequence of meridians that are out of balance, and those meridians being out of balance, there is a direct cause, right? There's a direct cause, and through the meridians we can actually find what that direct cause is. And my experience here is, feeling betrayed by the masculine, feeling betrayed. And you'll notice that my sweet Effie, who's my divine feminine healer, she's just like really present with me and feeling everything that's happening, and really appreciate her experience there, and just letting her hold space for me without needing to like lean in and be engaged, and I'm really staying in my process and not letting anything take me out of the process. And here I'm really letting myself feel the betrayal and process, the past several years since COVID, of my, having a lot of difficulty with my father not wanting to see me and, really not talking to me very much because I was not willing to get vaccinated and do COVID tests and do all these things that, he wanted me to do in order to see him. And, just really feeling betrayed, feeling like, I was betrayed and let down, and that really made me feel stuck in so many ways. And then that started creating in my relationship with my partner, and I'm letting myself really feel my right arm, which is the arm with the rash, the right side, the masculine, feeling it just stuck, feeling it stuck on the earth here because of that betrayal. And how that betrayal is actually first within me. I'm owning it's mine. I betrayed myself first, and it created this external reality of feeling betrayed by the masculine. Right? Through this process, we own that we are responsible for everything we experience. And I'm fully allowing myself to feel the weight of that responsibility and to work through and to essentially unstuck myself, unhook myself from that, and to free myself from that experience, to free myself from that burden, that weight. And to be fully in it. To fully feel it. Because this is where this is the healing that happens. And we have to show up for it. We have to actually be it, embody it, express it. Express the feeling, express the pain, express the sound, express the movement. Healing does not just happen. And allopathic medicine has convinced us that healing can be this thing that just happens through a pill and a drug and a shot and a surgery and all these things that can just stop the pain. Real healing doesn't want to stop the pain. Real healing wants to turn the pain volume up as loud as possible, to feel all of it, to experience all of it, to own and be responsible for all of it, and to go through it. To let it transform us from within. Real healing is freedom. And there is no pill or shot that can create that freedom for us. And now I'm moving into actually pulling energy out of the rash, working with the points, the meridian points of the lung, heart, and pericardium that are there around that rash. And I'm very viscerally letting myself pull the energy out, and it's incredibly painful, and you can see that pain in my body. It's emotionally painful, it's physically painful, and it's liberating. Allowing myself to know how powerful that I am, that I can pull this energy out. I am the authority that can heal this. And I'm beginning to release the stuck energy from the meridian. So you'll see me really working, bringing the feminine left hand into that masculine and cleaning and pulling the energy, pulling the stagnancy, pulling the pain out of my body. And I'm using the air element to blow it out, to bring the air element in, to bring that etheric air element in, to blow it out of my hand. Because on the left side of the body, the left hand that's actually doing this clearing, right, I'm wanting to really blow that energy out of my meridian so that it doesn't stay stuck in my left meridian as I pull it out. And I'm just allowing myself to stabilize and integrate and just feel the release. I intuitively placed my hands on my forehead, on the mind and emotion points. Just allow that shift to happen. And now we're shifting gears once that integration happens. And now we're going into the balancing. And the balancing is working with the elements of water and earth. Water to help cool the fire, to help cool the excess fire, to help put out the excess fire that has been amplified through the heart and pericardium. And earth and wood to help balance the metal of the lungs. So I'm really working with grounding in the elemental alchemy of the earth element right here, activating the earth element, the wood element in my body, becoming strong like a tree, whilst also starting to sway and move and open up the water element. I'm wanting to activate earth and water to bring balance to fire and metal. So now that I really feel, the water and the earth element alive in my body, I'm really working to then bring that element, these earth and water elements live in our lower triangle, and I'm wanting to start to bring them up my body and throughout my whole body, as I'm going to eventually get to a point where I start to cultivate the water element and actually flush it through my fire channels to distill and dispense any excess fire that is working in my body so that the rash can cool. The heart and pericardium can release excess heat and become more balanced. I'm starting to run that water element down through my arms. I'm starting to cultivate where the water lives in my sacrum, and I'm starting to bring it up into the fire of the heart and pericardium, and I'm starting to cool and flush the water down through these meridians so that the excess heat can be dispensed and the emotions can flow. And you'll notice that I'm keeping my feet very rooted here, because there'll be lots of energetic shifts that you'll see happen through the spine as the spine begins to unlock. And as the spine unlocks, spontaneous undulations of the spine as the spine repatterns to a new higher octave. And this is when the healing is really solidifying in the body, once the spine has repatterned it. And the spine always must repattern the energy, otherwise it will return to the previous pattern. So I'm really cultivating and stirring up the the water here and bringing that water up and allowing it to cool the excess fire. Especially focusing on cooling the excess heat in the side of the meridians where the physiological rash is manifesting, as that is where, the heat is trying to dispense, right? There's so much heat happening that it's trying to push it out, and that's what the rash, these physiological manifestations of an imbalanced meridian are really heat trying to leave the body, and too much heat, so we're working with the elements to clear that, move that, and create a healing effect. Meridian lines and tracing the meridian lines to just really ensure that they are open and flowing. And you'll see the release energetically happen through the big yawn and spine undulating. That is the evidence that the energy is releasing, and the process that we're in is working and moving. And right here is when the stuck inability to breathe, there was this inability to fully breathe, and now the release, the choking, right, almost gagging reflex. You'll notice here it's like I haven't been able to breathe in lifetimes, and I'm finally able to breathe. It's showing how powerful this work is, how effective it is, how deep it goes. Now I'm working with the last meridian here, the pericardium. And now we come into the final stage, which is just working through the whole body, working through rubbing all, giving the body a little chi massage to just run from head to toes through all the meridians and just really ground, anchor, and bring balance to all systems, all functions of the body here. So we're going to run and wrapping up our practice here with our chi massage, and then we'll move into our grounding with the kidneys and bringing the moxa back in to really end this practice like fully feeling right in our essence, like when we are in these deep healing practices, right? And we just get up and like stop and move forward, and we've just moved like lifetimes worth of energy in 35 minutes, and we just get up and go on to the next part of our day. Like that actually kinks the hose again, right? So we actually how we end the healing is so important. So the final stage is really working with the opening up of all of the pathways of meridians through the chi massage, and we end the journey always with our kidneys, which is our destiny, which is the ability of our essence to really live in our body. So here we are, just going to be working through all of the meridians in this chi massage, just opening them all up. I'm taking a moment here to integrate, ground, balance, and just tune into anything else that's alive in my body. And when I'm guiding a client through this process, I'll ask them to verbalize what their sensations are in their body so that we can get a sense if there's any meridian that is very alive and activated that wants some attention and wants some grounding here and some support here. And now we move into the final stages, which is working on the moxibustion of the kidney point on the foot that is allowing us to really ground our essence into our body. And whilst I'm working on the right foot, I am holding the left kidney to bring balance between the yin and the yang, to bring balance between the left and the right hemispheres and polarity of the body. And then when I switch to the left foot, I will hold my right kidney and energize and really connect that this is me, ending this by fully allowing my essence, my true essence, come in my body and to guide me, to allow destiny to live in my body, to guide me. And you'll see me switching feet here and switching kidneys. And now I'm coming into adding a little grounding wood oil here to bring some balance into that point and just connect in, feel this grounded energy moving through my body, allowing myself, my essence to land in my body and feel grounded and rooted and connected. And we're going to finish the practice here with running along our governing channel, the governing vessel meridian, and uniting the yin and the yang elements, the governing vessel, tracing along this meridian. And this meridian goes down the front and the back side of the body, the yin and the yang. And placing a hand on the top of the channel and the bottom of the channel, heaven and earth, uniting heaven and earth in my body. And ending the practice with gratitude, appreciation, and just feeling it. Feeling myself, feeling my heart, feeling the shifts, feeling the connection. So much gratitude and love for showing up, being devoted. And feeling the shift, feeling that love emanating, feeling the joy, feeling the relief, feeling the pain having dissipated, and being very fortunate to have a loving goddess Effie. And a bonus, if you have something that you can just love fully, whether that be a partner, a child, or an animal companion, that you can just give love and just be nourished and nurtured at the end of your practice. Effie usually ends up being that for me. She is our healer. I'm just letting myself pour that love and receive that love to set the new bass tone. And that completes the practice. and deep, profound shifts that happen. And I can report here, the pain is gone.